Check, check, check.
This is the Everything That I Know podcast about real estate featuring Derek Schilling.
There goes Derek Schilling.
More than a woman to me.
Yeah, thanks. That'd be good. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we need one of those on-air things. Are you ordering one right now? Are you getting on Amazon? Like, I'm getting an on-air.
I tried to order one, and they were like cheesy and had the little pull string, and I wanted one you like mount on the wall. It was like, hey, yo, we're freaking on air.
We're on air.
We're on.
And we're on the podcast, the Everything That I Know podcast. I'm your host, Jamie Whitley, here to talk to the man who knows everything and learning as we go, Sr.Verde X.
Thank you very much. Hey, you're going to have to like adjust that because you always say the man who knows everything, and you're supposed to say everything that he knows because I don't really know everything.
That's why I said, and then continuing to learn.
Oh.
You missed that part.
I did. I really wasn't listening.
I threw that on the tag. That way, it's not you're not Mr. Know-It-All. You're just the guy who's constantly learning
That's right.
and sharing what you
know.
And
sharing what I've learned.
And I just ask questions.
Short 47 years.
So it's been a while since we've been together.
It's been a while since I was good.
Hold my head up high.
There you go.
It's been a while.
That was so off. This is my colleague hiding in the background. He didn't get a headshot there, but he hit the doorstop. That's a great sound effect, by the way.
So, because I couldn't remember like what we talked about. I want to say we did talk about Colorado last time.
Lunchtime podcast. Traffic flow in and out, in and out. What did we talk about?
By the way, what are we doing for lunch?
Oh my God. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for listening. I do not remember what we talked about last time. It's been a few weeks. It's been a couple of crazy weeks. A lot of travel, a lot of different stuff here and there. But I think it had something to do with like starting a business. How do you get started? And like once you have an idea, how do you take that idea and actually turn it into a business, and then et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, that was what it was. Pretty sure.
So yeah, just take it away.
Yeah, we nailed that. But we nailed that last time. We don't need to go. We don't need to go back into that.
Did we talk about Jocko? Because I know you.
We did not talk about Jocko. I do have a nice pic though.
Was that your normal face?
That was his normal face. It was like a fist, and it was pretty intense.
So what were the top 3 things you learned from Jocko?
Okay, so basically what you're referring to is Denver, early September. One of my colleagues and I went to a muster, which is the event put on and hosted by the Echelon Front, which is Jocko Willett, Leif Babin, and a bunch of guys, ex-Navy SEALs and other military branch personnel and professionals, really, who have segued from the military sector into the private sector using the skills and stuff that they learned in those spaces and applying them to business. This Extreme Ownership is one book. The Dichotomy of Leadership is another book. Discipline Equals Freedom is another book. And all that stuff is great. I've been following him for a couple years. Listen to the podcast, not as much as I should, but when I do, it's always like right in the face, you know. So went there to see what the muster was all about. It was a 3-day event. It consisted of an evening and then 2 full days. They were completely approachable. I mean, just like stood there and talked to you normally, you know, like some star status people who have millions of followers and stuff like that are not very approachable. If they are, there's, you know, there's a disconnect sometimes. I've been to a lot of these events and there's a disconnect, and that I understand why, because you talk to 1,000 people and all 500 of them ask the same question, and the other 500 ask the other same question, and it's just monotonous. But they were extremely gracious and had a lot of good stuff to say. It's geared around business, right? But for several years now, almost a decade, I have been strategizing, executing, working on my business plans and things like that with my colleagues that are partners and or just as an individual. And so I expected to go get something out of it, for sure, because you always learn something when you go to stuff like that. But I guess because I have been executing at the business level for several years, implementing some of these principles just as a listener and a follower, it really didn't hit me there as much as it hit me personally, which was a complete shock. The things that they were talking about, how to execute, how to work through, decentralized command, and I'm going to throw out some terminology, detach, all these kinds of things. They just really spoke to me on a personal level when it came to personal relationships and my family dynamics with my wife and my children and stuff like that.
So you've detached yourself from all of them?
Yeah, no, that's not what I'm saying. It's conflict resolution, how to handle situations, how to adapt to certain situations and make the right call and make the call. And my expectations were that I was going to go there and my business acumen was going to be elevated. And of course it was marginally, I'm sure. But again, I'd already been doing a lot of this stuff. It was the personal side of the content that it wasn't personally directed. It's just how it got to me. That's what I pulled out of it, right? So you go expecting one thing, you get something completely different. And it was pretty impactful.
That's awesome.
On a personal level. So.
Well, that's cool. I'm glad we got a little touch on the business acumen. And I'm glad you talked about your colleagues. It's really cool. It's kind of cool seeing this as it's not a system. It's not just it's you. It's a total collaboration.
Yeah,
in all your business endeavors.
Endeavors. You nailed it. So on that for a second, the personal side of stuff, where it hit me was how do you manage your family as a father, as a husband, a relationship as a friend. And so all of these different things, or an outsider friend, like if you see a situation where there's conflict among team members or among, other personalities inside your organization, how do you handle that? Those are personal more than their business, right?
Right.
Two people aren't getting along outside the water cooler, then you got a problem. It's not necessarily something that has to do with work. It's like they're just not getting along. You've got to figure that out. And so those were the things that I took away on the personal
They may
level.
not even go to the water cooler at the same time.
Yeah, right. Do we even have a water cooler? I mean, we don't.
I think we have a Keurig.
We have
a
bottled
Keurig.
waters.
Yes, we do.
Which I feel terrible about, all that plastic. But we do recycle.
But they have our logo on them. 88 Realty.
They do have their logoed out.
I am now a realtor with 88 Realty. Shameless promotion.
Let me see one of those waters right there. So what we're referring to is this logoed out water bottle that's pretty slick. I mean, it's nice. It's a nice little stable. It's a drinkable, consumable business card is what we call it.
It has 88 flavors of water in it.
It does not. But anyway. So on the personal level stuff, that's what I really got out of it and have continued to listen and read and keep growing in that direction.
Well, that's cool. Well, it's kind of been a while since we've had a podcast.
Been a while.
So we actually had some questions come in. And so we like to keep things organic. I didn't tell you about the questions.
I have a question for you. When we have something like that, can we take like that voiceover? It's been a while, and put as soon as you say that, like do that in the background, or is that like copyright infringement?
I think if we do it, we can, but we have to like make it a parody somehow. So
I got you.
It's been a while.
Yeah, that right
since
there.
I could.
Okay, yeah. So got it.
Be a rock star.
Perfect.
He switched to country now. So
that's great. Yeah, he did.
Okay, so since we had a little bit of time in between last and now, we're going to do something that's kind of like, did you ever see the dating game back in the 1970s where like a question was asked to you?
Sorry.
I thought we had a no cell phone policy in here.
Someone inside the room is texting me, and so I felt the need to reply. I'm not going to say who. But if he would like to leave the room because he feels stuck, we can always push pause and edit. And we can always leave it in there too, right, Haas? Okay, keep going.
So, did you ever watch the dating game?
No.
No?
I mean, I saw it. I never really it's a cool game.
But, I mean, you get the concept.
I know what the dating game is, yes.
One member of a couple goes out of the room, they ask questions to see what the other person might say.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So, we're going to play a touch of that.
Oh, gosh.
So...
Do I have to leave the room?
No.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
Your colleague already has.
Oh, great.
What company do you not want to start but wish someone else would?
Wow.
And your colleague mentally prepared himself to think what your answer would be.
That's a great one. I'm going to say I wish someone else would start would be like an authentic taco shop kind of business. One that was not just one little dive on the side of town that everybody goes to, but a chain of those little dives on the side of town everywhere.
So you wish someone else
Because every
would
time
start
something
like
gets corporatized, Belly? They screw it up. Like it's always like crappy recipes, and they try to get you with their hooks and then
babysitting. The number one answer, was
Babysitting
service inside of a restaurant so I can eat in peace.
That's a great answer, but that probably would not have made the list.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we're one for many now.
But I have talked to several staffing companies about why they don't have that service built into their, because they're already doing like accounting and construction and medical. Why don't you just have a freaking nanny service?
Oh, also you were talking about authentic tacos.
Yeah. Build that into your service. No. Okay.
Yeah, babysitting.
That's great.
That's a good business idea.
Yeah.
Is that one you would
It's called care.com, but in off tertiary markets from major metropolitan areas, it doesn't work. Like it's just not effective in our smaller markets. So small market minded individuals want to get entrepreneurially pushed, go do a regional smaller version of care.com in smaller communities.
That's good. It's a good business. It leads us to our next business question.
All right, ready to go.
The biggest myth in business is
that when you work for yourself, you will have time off. That you will work less. Okay. Everybody has this, I want to work for myself because it's freedom. It's actually more binding and more committed than working for someone else. You have no nights. You have no weekends. You're 24/7. You wake up at 2 a.m. thinking about your business. So, yeah.
So what would you call that?
What would I call that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, we're close.
Okay.
We're almost in sync here. It takes money to make money. No, it takes hustle, drive, and determination.
Yeah. Yeah. And some street smarts.
Yeah.
Because you can make money being smart and grinding it out. You can take that money and do some business and make some more money, right?
We need to edit that.
Why?
Oh, you haven't been keeping up with that SNL stuff? This guy had a really bad Asian accent, and he was white, and he got fired from SNL before he even made it.
No, but here's the deal. That was one of our mentors from an earlier podcast. Remember Tommy?
Oh, yeah.
So that's all good.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, he would say, you make it $10, you go make it $20, $20, you make $100, so and so, so on, so on.
Take that, political correctness.
Take that. Bam.
So what's your theme song?
Oh, gosh. I can only imagine what he said.
No, it's what you say.
Oh, but didn't he answer before the show?
To predict what you would say.
Oh, gosh. I have no idea what he's going to say, but it has to be Here I Go Again on My Own by Whitesnake.
Close.
Damn, really?
Eye of the Tiger.
Oh, God. That's pretty funny. That would get that gets some juices flowing too, but you can have a bad day and hear that Whitesnake song and it's all good, baby.
It's always good.
Yeah.
So
that's funny.
Another thing that works really well. We got a great question in someone wanted you to describe your ultimate. Wait till you take a drink. Power outfit.
I don't even know what that is.
No, it's like a fashion statement. Like if you're gonna put something on, it makes you feel like you have power. Like what is your sort of power of Grayskull fashion statement that you would put on?
Okay, so there's two things come to mind. Two things come to mind. Is that a part of his answer?
No.
One is so casual and so laid back that nobody thinks you have any kind of worth and you just look like a bum, but you're that bum that's a multimillionaire. That's a look, right?
So that would probably consist of skinny jeans, a
no. That would consist
in your favorite hairband.
No, that would consist of like some like shorts and a t-shirt and flip flops, and like,
would your hair be up or down?
Down.
We need to do the hair down podcast.
Not anytime soon. But so for the power outfit, I guess now that I understand what it really is, it would probably be exotic boots, blue jeans, a really nice button-down dress shirt, and that's about it. You know what I'm saying?
Those were close.
Okay.
Those are close. All right. Who gives you the best advice?
My business partners. In plurality, not just one. Because sometimes they all say stupid shit.
Yeah.
But every now and then one of them says something really profound. I'm like, oh, wow, that's great.
Well, do you know what your business partner said?
No. What did he say? Jesus.
Really?
Meaning I don't take advice? Is that what he meant by that?
He said, yeah.
Or no, he was the really. He's the one that said, like, really, it's me.
Really?
Yeah.
He said you would say my business partners, mainly Derek. Yeah.
No, you know what's great about, and that's a great segue to just jump into something about partnerships and friendships and things like that. Partnerships are great, but they're like a marriage. There's good and bad. Both sides have their good and bad. They bring that to the table. And so you have to be comfortable enough with a person that they can pour water on your fire and you don't get bent out of shape. Mm-hmm. But they also come fan the flame and get you, hyped up and encouraged and stuff like that too. And that has to work both ways. So sometimes a partner or in a partnership may be reluctant to say something to another business partner. And I am absolute opposite of that. I'm like, hey, you were a dick yesterday, or I didn't like what you said about that. And I know we disagree, but let's work it out. And if you can't do that with a partner, you really need to sever that tie. That partnership just is not going to work long term. So that's my advice.
Yeah. Detachment equals freedom.
And then sometimes you get more participation from some individuals than you do other individuals, and that's okay too. That might just not be their temperament or their personality, and that's okay. You just have to have that position to where you can point at the other one and say, hey man, you got mud on your face, kind of thing, So I appreciate that. And what I will also add to that is don't give up your individuality. Don't be so heavily swayed by a partner that you change who you are or change directions, because then you'll be miserable. And we've seen some examples of that recently, but not in our organization, but others. And you'll be miserable and you won't be effective, and you'll have this chip on your shoulder, but you won't know why. You're just succumbing to their pressure, or you're succumbing to their experiences and their insight, and maybe it's sending you the wrong direction, and so you have to recognize that. You always have to be true to yourself, and only compromise when it's wise and necessary.
That's good.
Because sometimes it's like, I want black, I want white. Really doesn't matter. You shouldn't be arguing about it. Just pick a color and go, right?
Yeah.
So that's what happens with a lot of partnerships, is they get the minutia brings them down instead of really focusing on, hey, the tactical goal may be able to do white or do black, but the strategic goal is to take over this world, right, with this endeavor. So who cares if it's black or white? If one doesn't get the job, we course correct and we go white if we went black, or we go black and we went white, or maybe orange is the right answer. So you just have to be able to do that and execute quickly. So
what have you sacrificed for your success?
I mean, where do I start? What have I sacrificed for my success? That's a legitimate question. There's not a comma and then something else?
No, that's the actual question.
Okay, so peace of mind, time. I've made a lot of decisions over the years that have put me in a spot where it robbed my peace of mind because I put myself in a bad spot. And that could last for weeks. That could last for months. It could last for a couple years, if you make a bad decision. But you learn so much from that. So it's hard to say that those were extremely bad, because those are some of the highest points of learning ever, because you dive deep to try to get it worked out. But yeah.
We all got it partially right.
Okay.
On the outside, I've sacrificed time with my family.
Yeah, I'm on the outside.
You're totally on a stain kick today. And you've also referenced Queen, and you've referenced Michael Jackson.
Yeah, you keep saying it. I can't help it.
That's good. That's all right.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So the answer is?
On the outside, time with my family. On the inside, nothing really.
That is so not true. Come on.
Okay, what is the most embarrassing thing you're willing to admit on our podcast?
I got nothing really. I don't know what's embarrassing. Like an embarrassing moment?
Or just anything.
I think most of the embarrassing moments I've ever had were like... well, because I'm really bad with names. And so I'll refer to someone with the wrong name or whatever. That bugs me for some reason. And so that's embarrassing sometimes. I don't know, really. I'd have to really think about that one, embarrassing wise.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sure plenty of my peers could answer that one for you.
I do, in fact, have a man bun.
Yeah, that's not embarrassing. What's embarrassing about that?
If you could time travel, where would you be right now?
I would be doing this podcast from a spaceship 200 years from now. Maybe 300.
I wish you would say the very end of this answer. Would that be gold? Can you repeat that again? And I'll add this to the end.
I'd be doing this podcast in a spaceship 200 years from now.
In Gary V's lap.
In his lap. No, I don't know. I have no fascination with that. I don't know. It's just funny.
You wouldn't sit in his lap?
For what? No, he's a grown-ass man.
What if he had a Santa Claus suit on?
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
Maybe if there's a Santa Claus.
Do it for charity.
I would definitely do it for charity. If y'all get that set up, we'll hit it.
Gary V, right now, listen, we're name dropping. Let me pick this up. Oh, that's heavy because I dropped your name hard. If you'll wear a Santa costume, SrVerde AX will tell you what he wants for Christmas for charity.
Wow. That's pretty awesome.
So what is the best part of the day for you?
Early morning, 4 a.m. The first 3
I would
hours,
have answered that.
The first 3 hours of
yeah.
my day, 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. That's the best time of my day.
Why?
Because it's complete solitude and quiet, and I get to do all of my best thinking about everything that I need to execute on as an individual and human. So I think about my kids, I think about my spouse, I think about my relationships, I think about my parents, I think about business. I just think.
Do you think about me?
I do think about you. Yeah. Well, for a few seconds here and there.
Good. What status is your phone in at this time during 4 a.m. to 7 a.m.?
It's in airplane mode.
Bam! What is the best part of your day? I love all times of the day, but mainly when my phone goes to do not disturb.
Oh, that's 5:30. So I have a do not disturb on my phone that kicks in at 5:30 p.m. to 7 a.m.
Ah.
That way it doesn't bother me, but if I pick it up and look at it, then I may engage, but usually I just let it go for hours at a time. So,
Oh, okay. Nice.
yeah. So it's automatic. It's a setting on your phone, and it just does that. So it silences everything. Nothing flashes, nothing shows up on the screen, but if you light up the screen, you see everything that's there, but it doesn't make any noise and doesn't distract you. So, yeah.
That's good. That's good. Which TV or movie character would you like to go into business with?
Oh, wow. And it depends on the business. Man, I could think of a dozen different ones.
Not with this one.
Not with this one?
You could go into business with anything. You could do anything in the world with this one.
Well, I was trying to think what he would have answered, but I don't know what I would answer.
This is about you. It's everything that you know.
He'd say myself.
No.
Oh.
But that was very humbling of you, not to admit that.
No, I'm like, well, he would take a jab at me by saying himself, but
No, he said Chuck Norris. He's the only person smarter than you.
oh God, Chuck Norris. Wow. No, I don't. You can't fail with Chuck Norris. Yeah, he's got some infomercials. He could do well.
So these next two weren't answered, but
Honestly, the first person that popped in my head was George Clooney because he's already had a successful tequila company, and I want to have one, and so that was the very first one. Then I went to Brad Pitt because I was going through Ocean's 11. Just that.
That's funny.
And then I went Julia Roberts because I'd always been a big fan of hers, and all of a sudden what popped in my head was that white limousine. Anyway, keep going.
So really, you want to rob some banks?
No. It was just those were what popped in my head. Let's go. Keep going. What's next?
Okay, so what is your favorite local business? Like in Tyler, Texas, what is your favorite local business?
Stanley's Famous Pit Barbecue.
Mine too.
There you go.
We should go there for lunch today. Look how nice it is
See ya.
outside.
Yeah.
If you were to start your own political party, what would the platform be?
Ooh, that's a deep question, man. What would the platform be? Probably the Green Initiative. No, it would probably have. It would probably just be centered around treating everybody like you want to be treated, and figuring out how that could be, politicized into programs. And because if you just treat everybody the way you want to be treated, the world will be a whole lot better place.
Can you imagine how the world would be if everybody gives, shared, and repeated?
Man, that's pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. Who came up with that?
Derek.
Probably not. It's serve. Share was a typo, but let's keep going. Yeah, I don't know, something like that. Something simple like that, where you just get all of humanity to treat each other kind.
Yeah. Well, that was
kind.
That were all the questions.
Which
we had sent in.
Funny enough, is Stanley's mantra: "Be kind, have fun."
Yes.
So that's pretty much it.
Absolutely.
Be kind, have fun.
It's the best barbecue.
Because if you're being kind and you're treating others like you'd want to be treated, then you wouldn't be treating people crappy. And you'd have fewer problems, and you wouldn't get upset so often when somebody didn't, zoom away from a red light or get the wrong milk in your coffee, or, your food was bad at the restaurant, and you just get over it and move on. Yeah. So
well, that's good.
Be kind.
That's good.
But we would call it the Green Initiative, of course. Or we would call it Initiative Verde. I don't know.
Yeah.
Verde.
Cool.
Yeah. Would it be the Green Party though? I couldn't do that. That's already been taken.
There's already a Green Party.
Yeah. Is that the extent of the questions?
That's the extent of the question.
That was fun.
We need more like followers, so
they get more fun.
yes.
Yeah.
So if you guys could just
Send in
DM
your questions.
If you don't want him to see them, you can look at Jamie Whitler, Jamie_88 Realty, and I will answer them on the podcast.
Yeah. Very cool.
Or ask them on the podcast so that SrVerde could ask them on the podcast.
Answer them on the podcast.
Answer them.
Yes.
I've totally just messed that up. I've
That's
had too many
okay.
caffeine.
What else today? Anything?
That's kind of all I got right now.
That's great.
You got anything you want to ask me?
Where are you going tomorrow?
I am going to Baltimore, Maryland.
Nice.
Yes. My girlfriend's mom is a professional bodybuilder. And
Yes,
competing.
she is.
And my girlfriend has a off football game. So we're going to go to Baltimore for the weekend and support her.
That's awesome, man. That'll be fun.
Yeah. And I had my first listing this week, actually listed in the MLS.
That's great, bro. Congratulations.
Thanks.
That's good times. While you're in Baltimore, why don't you make some posts on your socials about Baltimore and pick up some Baltimore followers for yourself?
I should
You never
do
know.
that.
Connections, man. It's all about connections.
That's right.
Connections.
And crab cakes.
And crab cakes. Sure. Bring us some back. All right. Well, thanks for that. It was fun. And I appreciate you doing this. And I appreciate my partner over there hiding in the corner being such a valuable asset. I'm sorry. I meant to say smart ass, but it's the same, right? Anyway, it's all good. Thank you all for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Have a good one. This has been the Everything That I Know podcast, hosted by Jamie Whitley and SrVerde X. This has been the Everything That I Know podcast, and now I'm a lot smarter. This has been the
outro.
Everything That I Know podcast, and now I'm smarter than you.